Okay, we're recording. Hello, ladies. So it's Monday, April 19th, and I'm so excited to be talking with all of you tonight. So this is um, my masterclass, and I'm calling it a masterclass because I really want to do some live coaching and kind of problem solve with you all. So it's going to be audience participation. If you do not want to participate, that is just fine. It's obviously optional, but I don't want to be just like talking at you guys during this whole class. I really want to hear what's going on with you and see if we can kind of figure some things out. Let me share my screen, not this screen, this screen. Awesome. Okay. Here we go. Okay, so what we're going to be talking about tonight is secrets to female fat loss in your 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond. And I think this is so important. I'll go into the reasons why I put together this specific masterclass. But before I do, I just want to tell you a little bit about myself, and then I'd love to hear from you guys, sort of who you are, so you can sort of get to know each other, and sort of why you're interested in this, what you think you might be struggling with, how old you are, because that really helps in understanding what your body needs, and will help me understand too, like where you're coming from. So I'll start just a little bit about me. My name is Annie. I am a life and health coach. I say that I'm a life and health coach. I really do a unique type of coaching that I don't think anyone else out there is doing. I combine nutrition, women's health and hormones, fitness, mindset, peak performance, stress management, to really help women prioritize their own health and happiness, and help you, my clients, get to reaching your goals and create a life of joy and ease and impact and abundance. I'm actually, my training before I was a coach I was a lawyer for 8 years, big firm lawyer. And I had a very tumultuous year. 5 years ago, I sort of had all the rugs pulled out from under me, and I realized that was not it. It was not bringing me any joy. It was not where my focus or attention was, and I just needed to find something else. And so I just started digging in to sort of personal development work and trying to figure out what if anything was the plan for me. And along the way, I started thinking, maybe this is it. Maybe it is to figure out how to elevate every aspect of my life. And then once I do, or once I get a little bit down that journey, I certainly don't have everything figured out, but then to help other women do the same. And that's what I've been doing ever since. And I really feel like this is my divine mission in life, is helping women step into their greatness by prioritizing their own health and their own happiness, and finding easy ways to do it, to nourish their body, and to take care of themselves in ways that fits into your busy life. Because I work with mostly professional women who are 30 and older, who have a lot going on. They're professionals, they're running businesses, they have a family, they're making an impact in the community, and they're not trying to spend 2 hours in the gym every day and like all Sunday meal prepping. So it's really about finding easy ways to take care of your body. But the first step of that is figuring out what actually you need to do to take care of your body. And so we're going to go over some of those things tonight. Okay, so that's me. I would just love just a quick intro from you guys, if you don't mind. Just what's your name, why you're interested in this, and anything specific that you're struggling with, or you think, might be something that you've tried and it didn't work. Shondell, will you start? Awesome. Thank you.
I certainly can. I am Shondell Spader. I am 39 years old, and I.
Good year.
What's that?
It's a good year. So am I.
It is a good year. I agree. I was interested in this mostly because it's you. And secondly, because it would be something, well, I should say, yeah, they're probably even. I need to get better at taking care of myself.
Mhm.
And the time that I have spent with you, I have learned so much. So yeah, I just jumped on the bandwagon because I'm a groupie now. Um,
Okay, well, I love that reason. Thank you.
my struggle, I think, would be consistency.
Hmm.
I know what I need to do, and then just that motivation to always stick to stay consistent long term. Like, yeah, that's probably my
Hmm.
biggest struggle right now.
Yeah. Okay, great. We will talk about that. Carrie, how about you?
I guess if you're talking about jumping on the bandwagon, I jumped right on. I Shondell and I actually work together, so I'm you'll probably see that and know that we know each other very well. And I've gotten to know Annie through Shondell. Um, and I really like Annie's approach. So that's part of the reason that I decided to do this. I'm stuck. I'm the biggest I've ever been. I'm 47. I have to think about that. After 40, it's like, I don't know, it's just the number anymore. Um, but so obviously, as I've gotten older, it's harder to make changes because my body's like, yeah, right, no, you're not doing that. So 6 years ago, I did really well. I lost 80 pounds. And of course, I've put it all back on over the last 6 years. So just, I want to get back to where I was 6 years ago and hopefully even more than that. So
Mhm.
that's where I'm at. I have two kids, they're 10 and 8. So
Okay,
they keep me on my toes.
awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Carrie. Yeah, I hear that from a lot of people that, I did this and it totally worked until it didn't work, or it stopped working, or I lost willpower, or whatever. And then usually people gain that weight back. And one thing that's really important to me is that when I work with clients, that it's like the last diet you ever do, because by the end of working with me, you don't feel like you're on a diet. You just feel like, hey, this is my life now. I know how to take care of my body. It's actually fun and easy. Yes, I need some accountability to make the choices I want to make, but it's not like white knuckling through starving myself every single day. And that accountability in making those choices is really helpful until they become just like automatic choices.
Right. And that's what I hope to learn someday, is making those better choices for the long term change
Yeah,
versus
totally.
short term.
Right, for sure. Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Lindsay, how about you?
Sure. I'm Lindsay. I'm 37, I think. Yeah, 37. It's been a weird year or two. And I worked with Annie. I went on her Costa Rica retreat. I guess it was like a year. Actually, I just counted it 14 months, a year and 4 months ago.
Hmm.
I was looking back at pictures and it was so great. And I just enjoyed it so much that I thought between then and now, I've had a lot of like health things happen and life things happen. And so I think I'm finally to the point where I'm like healthy and strong enough that I can start really focusing again on just like building strength and giving myself all the things I need to continue to be healthy and stronger. And I've had a weird relationship with my body in the past year because of all the stuff that's been going on. So
Hmm. Yeah. Well, it's so good to see you again.
I'm glad to be
Um, okay, awesome. Yeah, we're really going to talk about like kind of nourishing your body. That is one thing that's really important to me. And that's why I call my signature program the Nourish Project, because I feel like so much marketing, especially for women, is like beat your body into submission and like cut out all the food you love. And it does not need to be that way in order to take good care of yourself. Um, welcome, Lindsay. I'm really glad you're here. Lori and Sarah, I know you guys are muted. Do you want to? Okay, Sarah's taking her thing off. Do you want to say hi? And
Yeah, sorry guys. I was just diagnosed with COVID, and so I'm in bed. So I turned my screen
Oh,
off
sorry.
because no one needs that. I am Sarah. I'm 34 years old, and I actually own a company that takes people on adventures around the world. And so I talk to a lot of people that, might be struggling with health issues. And so I just thought this topic was fascinating. I get a lot of people asking, like, am I too old to go? Do I have to be in better shape? Because we do a lot of hiking and activities. And so I thought, I think of things from a very holistic standpoint, and we use travel as a tool with mental as well as like what you're doing. And so I thought it'd be really interesting to learn what you're teaching so that I could send people to you that might be a good match as well. And just because I'm a nerd and I love learning, and so I'd love to just kind of hear what your process is and your wisdom. So I'm really excited to be here.
Oh, that sounds great. I'm excited to have you, Sarah. I'm so sorry you're sick.
Yeah, it was actually my birthday and I got diagnosed with COVID.
Oh my gosh.
I almost made it.
I saw that it was your birthday last week. I was like,
That's
well,
what happens when you get old. All the fun just gets out of it, right?
the good news is this year is all up from here, right?
100%.
Lori, do you want to introduce yourself?
So I'm Lori, and my battery's about to die.
Oh, no.
So my video's off, and I'm not in my 30s, and I'm not in my 40s, and I'm not in my 60s. So you can figure out where I am. And I've been working with Annie for about a year, and I wanted to get stronger and lose weight and be more consistent. And it's been great so far. So thanks.
Okay, I'm really glad you're here. And I'm just going to say, because she's not going to say it, like 2 weeks ago, Lori did more push-ups than she is years old. So if she can do that, anybody can. She has just really been consistent in kicking ass.
That's pretty
Okay.
awesome. Push-ups are hard.
Yeah, push-ups are hard. These were real solid push-ups too. Okay, let's get into it. I'm going to make sure I'm sharing my screen. Okay, so a little bit like who this masterclass is for. Like I said, I coach so many different women on so many different kinds of things, mostly involving health and mindset. Some women come to me like, I have no idea what to do. I'm starting from like couch potato, to other women who are like, I feel like I'm doing everything right. And I'm still not seeing the results. And this class is really sort of towards women who feel like, okay, I'm either like overwhelmed from trying this thing and it not working, and trying this other thing and then it works until it didn't work. Or like women who feel like, okay, there's another new fad diet. Like, am I supposed to be keto now? Or am I supposed to be paleo? Or like, am I supposed to be intermittent fasting? Like, there's just always a new thing out there, and it can be really overwhelming. Or yeah, if you're just like totally confused and being like, there is so much stuff being like shoved down my throat in terms of marketing, I don't know which end is up. So this is for you. This is for those women. I'm not going to be going over everything under the sun. I learned that a long time ago. I'm like Sarah said, I'm also a huge nerd for learning, and I'm just like obsessed with peak performance and taking care of our bodies. And I learned a long time ago, you cannot just like give that all to everyone at once. So I'm trying to be very specific in this class. So if there's something that you have a question about, or something that you feel like, maybe I know, but I'm not covering it, please ask, because I'm just going to try to stay pretty focused on these 4 secrets that I think are sort of the biggest secrets, or the flip side, like the biggest myths out there about what women need to do to nourish our bodies and lose weight and lose body fat. And as you might be able to tell, I'm super passionate about this subject. I'm super passionate about what I do. And for this specific masterclass, I'm super passionate about it, super into it, because I get the same questions like day after day. All these questions that I put in this class, I have had them from multiple clients. I've seen them multiple times, and it's infuriating because these women are struggling. If this is you, like you're struggling and you're feeling like a failure, like you're trying to do the thing, it's not working, and it's actually not your fault. Like, there is so much misinformation out there, and like conflicting information, and it is just super overwhelming. a lot of times the solution is actually the opposite of what we think it is and the opposite of what we're marketed. So that is infuriating to me. The second reason is that all the current standard traditional fitness, nutrition, weight loss, fat loss recommendations are based on research on men's bodies. And then they're marketed to women because women are the ones who spend money on this stuff. It is ridiculous. I don't know if my mom's going to watch this on the replay, but it's total bullshit. And I cannot handle it. Until 1994, it was actually illegal for women to participate in clinical studies. And even as recently as 2004, only like a quarter of the participants were women. And this even includes clinical research studies for women's hormone replacement, like stuff that is being developed just for women is studied for men. And the reason is that women's bodies are too complicated. We go through a monthly cycle, we go through different stages of life, and it's not efficient to study those. So I've put together all the current research that's out there. I am probably going to get a certification later this year in specifically in women's health and hormones, but I incorporate a lot of that into my coaching as well. And I think it's really important that you have a program that's designed for women and understanding women's hormones, women's cycle, women's different stages of life, and how that impacts and affects what we need and how we need to take care of our bodies. And then the last thing the reason I'm so passionate about this is because what used to work doesn't work anymore. Like, this is why I work with women who are over 30. I'm 39. I'll be 40 this year. And like, I used to just, live the high life, like bounce back from a great weekend, like hop in the gym for one day and like lose that weight again. It doesn't work that way when you're in your 30s anymore. And I have a lot of clients reach out to me and be like, oh, this is what I do. This is what I've been doing since I was just out of college. It used to work and then it stopped working. It doesn't work anymore. And that's because our bodies are changing. As women, men are very different. Men go up with testosterone, they go straight across, and then they go down when they reach, it's called andropause. It's kind of the equivalent of women's menopause, but much less dramatic. Whereas women, we start changing in our mid 30s, and I hate to say it, but like perimenopause is coming up, moving into menopause, and those different stages of life, we really need different programs that actually address where you're at in your life cycle, as well as where you are in your monthly cycle. So I'm going to be kind of weaving all this stuff in. I'm actually going to do a whole entire webinar next week, Wednesday, just on women's health and hormones and metabolism. So if that's something you're interested in, please put that on your calendar. It's going to be next Wednesday, the 28th at the same time. And that's just going to be women's hormones and stuff like that. I'm just going to be kind of weaving it in tonight and mentioning what makes sense, but that's going to be a really good one as well. I've had clients who I've taught the stuff about this, and they're like, I can't believe we don't learn this. Like, I cannot believe we don't learn this in school or in health class or nowhere. It's just, we're not taught it because the research is just emerging. Okay. I'm going to get into the meat of this and start going through all my top secrets. Before I do, does anyone have any questions, comments, thoughts? Okay, cool. So number one thing I want to talk about is if you feel like you're eating clean and you still can't lose weight. And the secret, I don't know if this is a secret, but it seems to always be a secret when I share this with people. You can't out exercise a bad diet. And before you say, hold on, I'm not eating a bad diet, I'm eating really healthy, this applies. Most of my clients come to me and they are eating healthy, quote unquote healthy. Maybe they've trying to eat clean, or maybe they're trying intuitive eating, keto or paleo, maybe they're vegan or vegetarian. All that is great. It's fine. I do have some problems with keto, which I will not go into tonight. But there's pros and cons to all of those types of diets. But the secret, the fact is, you have to be in a calorie deficit to lose weight. If you're not going to lose weight. Keto is not a magic bullet. Paleo is not a magic bullet. Intermittent fasting is really getting popular right now. That has a lot of great health benefits, but it's not a magic pill for weight loss. Another thing that I see often is people eat really well Monday through Friday, and then it's happy hour and it's brunch and it's Saturday pizza night. And they feel like they've kind of been really good and restricting themselves all week. And then the weekend comes and they feel like, oh, it's just the weekend. But really, it's like 2.5 days of eating that can reverse all the good stuff you did when you were, being really disciplined during the weekdays. And sometimes it's actually a sort of a bounce back because you're eating so restrictive during the weekdays where you're eating not enough, or you're not allowing yourself any treats or any food that brings you pleasure, and you just can't do it anymore. And so you kind of like boomerang back too far on the other end and kind of lose your results. I also have seen that with clients who tell me, I'm eating so healthy during the day, but then I just binge on everything at night. And I say, like, okay, let's talk about what you're eating. And they're eating almost nothing during the day. They're eating what they think is healthy, and it's like a cup of soup and a salad. And they're really actually not eating enough. They're not nourishing their bodies consistently throughout the day. So of course, the end of the day comes and their bodies like, give me nutrients in any shape or form. And they end up binging or just snacking or eating treats that aren't the most healthy. So in order to lose weight, you have to be in a calorie deficit. So then the question is, how do you know if you're in a calorie deficit, right? That's the harder question. And this is something that I work on with all my clients, and in my group program that I have coming up starting in May, the Nourish Project, I actually teach clients how to figure out how many calories you need for your body and your goals and your stage in life, because it changes and it's custom, it's unique to each person. So if there's ever a diet or a coach that says, it's giving out like one recipe for people, like one prescription, like eat this many calories or eat this many macros, just you need to run the other way, because everyone is super unique in their caloric needs, and it's based on your dieting history, your goals, your age, your weight, your gender, and your personal preferences as well. So that's secret number one. You have to be in a calorie deficit. Number two, this is might sound a little bit contrary, and it is to what I just said. Number two, cutting calories is also not the answer. Just as keto, paleo, intermittent fasting, all those like fad popular diets is not the magic answer. Also, just cutting calories is not the answer. And you would probably be shocked at how many clients I see who come to me and they say, I'm struggling to lose weight. I have this 5, 10, 20, 40 pounds. I cannot lose them. And I'm really super disciplined. I'm eating 1,200 calories a day. I'm eating 1,300 calories a day. And that 1,200 calories a day is like enough for like a toddler. Like no grown woman should be eating 1,200 calories a day. By the way, there's a lot of apps out there that will calculate your macros for you and tell you, it might tell you based on your goals that you should be eating 1,200 calories a day. And MyFitnessPal is one of those. So if you ever use an app to calculate your macros and it tells you something in the 1,200 to 1,400 range, don't do it. Do not do it. Talk to me or a coach who can actually help you calculate your macros for your body. So the secret is you actually may need to eat more to lose weight. This can be really, really scary for almost anyone, right? It's so counterintuitive to think everything that we're sold and programmed and brainwashed since the first diet we do as a little girl is cut calories, lose weight, cut carbs, lose weight, use more willpower about what you eat, lose weight. And the truth is that's not the way our metabolism works necessarily. So here's why. There's two reasons. Number one, our metabolism adapts to whatever we're doing it to for our own survival. So if your metabolism is right here, say it's used to burning 2,000 calories a day, and you're giving it 2,000 calories a day, cool, everything's happy, it's totally aligned. And then if you say, oh, I need to go on a diet, I need to lose a little bit of weight, so I'm going to cut calories down to 1,800. Cool, you're going to lose weight a little bit at first, and then your metabolism adapts down to here, and then it stops working. So then the options are be like, oh, F this diet, this doesn't even work. I'm going to fall off the bandwagon and eat all the things anyway, and your weight goes back up. That's like yo-yo dieting. And so many women have done that. We've been dieting forever. So our metabolism goes up and down, and then we have to cut deeper for that next diet. And then our metabolism eventually slows down to here, where it's like, okay, now I'm used to eating 1,600 calories. I guess that's how many I'm getting. So I'm gonna figure out how to work on there. And our energy goes down, our steps go down, and it just starts preserving calories. And so eventually, if you can see this like race to the bottom, right? And I've had many women come to me who are actually eating like 1,300 calories, and we've had great success in increasing their calories. And I'm going to show you a case study of that in a second. But the other second reason you may need to eat more is because our bodies evolved. You think of ancient caveman, paleo woman, our ancestors, the main threat to the survival of the species was starvation. It's how we evolved for generations and centuries. And our body hasn't quite picked up to the 21st century life where there's food everywhere, it's easily available. No one in the United States is going to die for lack of calories, maybe lack of nutrients, but not lack of calories. But our body still takes any stress as a concern for potential threat of starvation. And so when we're under stress, our body hangs on to body fat. Especially as women, this is different than men because women are the bearers of the next generation, right? We have to not only be able to survive ourselves, but reproduce and produce children. So women's body interprets lack of carbs or a lack of calories as a threat and a stressor, and will hold on to extra body fat, any body fat that it can. That's same for stress, whether that stress is your kids calling you all the time while they're home doing virtual learning, to your clients and your boss always needing something, to a 24-hour news cycle. All those things are stressors. Additional stressors on your body are being in a calorie deficit and exercise. So if you have all these stressors and then you're telling your body, I'm going to cut your calories and I'm going to do all this exercise, it's like, we are not letting go of any of that body fat. We are just holding on to every bit that we got. One thing that may have to happen is what's called a reverse diet, which is bringing up those calories slowly in really controlled, high protein, moderate carbs, moderate fat, and until the body feels like it's safe and it's able to release some of that body fat. And I want to show you an example, if I can get out of this, and show. So here's an example from one of my clients I was working with from December. Let me just share the screen again. Okay, so she had great results. But this is pretty typical for what I see when women come to me eating really low calories. So you can see in the beginning, she came to me 193 pounds. Week 0, 193 pounds. She was eating 1,226 calories. And this was like a normal size woman, not like, 5 feet tall, like just normal size woman. So we actually, the whole time I was working with her, we're doing a reverse diet and trying to get her body to feel safe, release that body fat. And you can see it just worked like clockwork here. So we brought her calories up from 1,200 to 1,500, 300 calories a day more. And in the first 3 weeks of eating more calories, she was already down 3 pounds. Next week, as we went on, by week 8, she was down to 189 pounds. She was down 4 pounds, and she was still eating in the 1,600 calories. I wanted to keep bumping her up, and that's what she's doing now. But she's eating like this week, 1,700. Her weight's continuing to move down another couple pounds. By the end of it, she's always consistently eating 1,600 calories, and she's down 10 pounds in about 12 weeks from eating significantly more than she had been. And I know it sounds crazy, which is why I wanted to show that case study. But that happens more often than you would probably think. Okay, does anyone have any questions about that? So that's sort of the first two that really have to do with nutrition.
When you do that reverse diet,
Mhm.
does she exercise at that time as well, or do you keep her body as stress-free as possible while you transition her into eating the more calories and that sort of thing?
Yeah, that's a great question. So with her, we started doing strength training once or twice a week, but mostly it was just walking. And that's what I do with almost all my clients. I mean, obviously it's on a case by case basis, but I really love to get, I'm actually going to talk about this next. So it was a great segue to my third secret, but I love to get women, or at least I try to, out of that mindset that I'm going to do more cardio, do more cardio, do more cardio, because cardio is actually really counterproductive. And, women don't know it. We're like raised doing spin class and Zumba and aerobics and stuff like that. So with this particular client, she had never strength trained before. She actually loved doing Soul Cycle and Peloton. And we had a couple conversations. She was very hesitant to stop doing that. And she said, finally she said, you know what? That got me to where I am, and I'm paying you a lot of money to work with you. So I'm going to just trust you on this, and we're going to go for it. And she found that she loved it. She actually just messaged me last week and she's like, oh my gosh, I just carried my 35-pound toddler up the stairs and didn't even break a sweat thanks to the strength training. But so it was really decreasing the stress all around as much as possible, increasing the steps and daily movement, and then adding in just 1 or 2 strength training sessions later on in our time working together. That was a great question. Anybody else have questions? Cool. Okay, so thank you, Sarah, for that great segue to my next top secret. Is if you feel like, okay, I'm eating right, I'm still can't lose the weight. And here's the third secret. How you move your body matters, and exercise is not enough. It really, really, what you need to do to nourish your body, just like your nutrition, it depends on your stress level. It depends on what you enjoy doing. It depends on how busy you are. It depends on your stage in life, whether you're still getting normal, regular cycles, whether you're in perimenopause or whether you're postmenopausal. And then also, if you are getting your cycles, where you are in that cycle. The first 2 weeks of your cycle look much different than the second 2 weeks of your cycle in terms of your energy and what exercise your body's going to respond to. So all of that really, really matters. And next week, when I have my workshop on women's health and hormones, I'll go more into you know, the specifics of like different times during your cycle and throughout our cycle of life, what makes the most sense. But for tonight, I'll say the older you are, the more walking has to be the dominant form of exercise, and strength training, traditional strength training. When you're younger, when you're in 20s, you can do all kinds of cardio and all kinds of HIIT classes, Orange Theory, Peloton, all that kind of stuff. And those are great. And I love them and they're fun and you get sweaty and you feel great. They're really high stress on your body. And as we get older, we have all this other stress and our hormones are changing. So we're not able to handle the stress as much. We need to be that stress regulator. So it really needs to shift to strength training and walking. And I'm going to talk about both of those. So strength training is one of my favorite things to get women, kind of get women into. So many of my clients, when they start with me, they're nervous to do it. They feel like, oh, I don't want to get bulky. The common thing I hear is like, oh, I just want to get toned. I don't want to get bulky. There's a lot of trainers that like, that drives me crazy, because tone just means you have muscle and you're lean. So lower fat, more muscle, lower body fat, more muscle. The only way to build muscle is by strength training. And you're not going to get big and bulky unless you work really, really hard at that. Like women's bodies are not designed to look like Hulk Hogan's or like men's bodies. What's going to happen, and what I see with my clients, is they put on muscle, and they get those curvy fit, you know, lean, sexy, sculpted look that we want. That comes from strength training. It doesn't come from HIIT classes. It doesn't come from doing a lot of reps with low weights. It comes from really actual traditional resistance training. Not only that, but it is the most efficient, effective form of exercise. And so here's a couple of reasons why it is like queen in terms of which exercise women should be doing, especially as you get older. So number one, it raises your metabolism up 8 to 9% for about 72 hours. In contrast, cardio will burn the calories while you're doing it, and then it will stop as soon as your heart rate goes down. So strength training is kind of like the gift that keeps on giving in terms of the benefits of the actual exercise. And then not only that, but the double benefit is it builds muscle. Strength training plus eating adequate number of calories with lots of protein builds muscle. And that muscle, yes, it's heavy, right? Muscle is heavier than fat, but it's going to give you that look that you want. You're going to be strong. And the muscle increases your metabolism, which in turn increases fat loss. So if you're incorporating strength training and you're building muscle, not only is it going to boost your metabolism for like 72 hours after that specific workout, just having that muscle on your frame is going to increase your standing metabolism, even when you're nowhere near a gym and you're just hanging out, sleeping, watching Netflix, going about your life. So really get a lot of bang for your buck with strength training. It's also very actually low stress on your body compared to cardio and HIIT type of workouts, which are very high stress. So if you're already living a high stress life, your career, your job, your business, your kids, your family, what's going on in the world, I would really recommend doing strength training rather than cardio or HIIT classes, because it's not going to add additional stress to your body. And our body just incorporates stress as stress. It doesn't know like this is good stress or this is bad stress. It's just cumulative. Also, a ton of obviously positive physical benefits from strength training. It reduces heart attack, heart disease risk factors, blood pressure. increases insulin sensitivity. So that's a good thing. That means our body's able to burn carbs instead of storing them as body fat. It strengthens our bones, increases bone density, which is really good for as we age. As so many older people, lose their balance and break a hip. It's like a huge risk as you get older. It also has a lot of mental health benefits as well. Reduces fatigue, reduces anxiety, reduces depression, and increases our cognitive abilities, our self-esteem, our mood, confidence, and swagger. I always say, there's nothing that makes me feel as strong and confident and powerful as like picking up some heavy weights, lifting weights, and putting them back down. I've never seen anyone get off an elliptical machine and like swagger out of the gym, right? But you just pick up those weights and you really start feeling like a badass. Like you can't tell me anything. Okay. So part 2 of exercising, moving your body, not exercising, in fact, but this is walking is considered NEAT activity, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, but it's also really magical for weight loss, fat loss, and just nourishing your body in general. It's a one type of movement and exercise that will actually decrease stress and boost your metabolism, whereas exercise is going to, boost your metabolism, but also increase the stress. And we evolved walking 10,000 steps a day on average, probably more. So that's where that number came from. That's on everybody's Fitbit and Apple Watch, that 10,000 steps a day goal. It can really be a lot. And the good news is that although I'm going to tell you, you don't have to do elliptical every day for an hour in order to hit your health goals, just doing a couple days a week of strength training for like 30 to 40 minutes. Walking, like there's no way to get around how long it takes to walk for like 3 to 5 miles a day. But it's just really important. And there's ways that you can prioritize it and build it in so that it just becomes sort of a natural part of what you do. One thing that I like to do is park in literally the end of the parking lot. I don't run that many errands anymore because now I've started getting grocery deliveries and stuff like that. But when I do go anywhere, I try to park as far away as I can and just build in those extra steps because they really add up. Other things you can do is just schedule it. This is not going to make it take less time, but it will help you actually do it and build it into your life and just schedule it and say, I'm going for my walk. Maybe you go with your kids, they go for a bike ride. Maybe you go with your partner or your spouse. Maybe it's your alone time and it's your favorite time of the day to just clear your head and not have anyone need you. Or maybe that's when you listen to a great podcast or a great book. There's a lot of things you can do on the walk to, use that time. I've had some of my clients who were attorneys and trying to think who else was doing that. But I've had several clients who started taking their conference calls while they're walking or listening to webinars and trainings as they know that they're just mostly listening in. They don't have to be at their computer. And that's a great time for them to go out and get those steps. I also have clients who put in their headphones at night while their kids are in bed and like walk laps in their house this winter, listening to an audiobook and just like getting those steps in. Does anyone else, I know some of you are walkers already. Does anyone else have ways that you get in steps? Tricks or tips to get moving? No? Okay.
Oh, as I say, I do walk every day. I try to do 10 to 15,000 steps. And sometimes I will just watch my TV shows. Like that's my binge time.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of is like my little reward system.
Yes.
But I also do go in the evening, which I know a lot of people say they don't like, but it does actually relax me at night and it's kind of a wind down time. So I would say don't be afraid to wait till the end of the night when you've kind of got all your other stuff done and then you're like, okay, now it's my time, and just find a way to relax.
Yeah, that's great. I love that, Sarah. When you're watching your TV shows, is that on a treadmill or outside?
Oh, outside, I'll bring my phone and I'll just play like a show.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
I would
So
trip
good.
and fall.
When I did used to go to the gyms before COVID, I would do it on the treadmill and I would put it up there and watch it. But
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, we have a lot of nice walking paths. So if you can find a walking path to go on, it's a little easier not to trip.
Yeah, that's true for sure. The other benefit of walking, walking outside is like you also get, I haven't really mentioned, but just the stress reducing properties of being outside in nature. My brother's a doctor, and he was telling me that the Japanese culture, they're very, very health conscious, and they actually have a term that I can't remember how you say it in Japanese, but it's called forest bathing. And it just means walking through the forest and absorbing the chemicals that the trees like put off. And they're very soothing, almost like, how when you go to the ocean and you feel those like negative ions from the salt water and it feels so healing and so peaceful. Walking outside has that same, you don't have to be by the ocean. You could just be by some trees or some nature. So, so many benefits to walking. So those are the two key takeaways. If you're not seeing results, it could be from doing too much cardio. It could be from doing only cardio. It could be from just not moving enough. Even if you're exercising every day, like 1 hour of exercising is actually like not enough to counteract the effects of being sedentary all day long. And we're a super sedentary society, right? We're working from home, we're getting groceries delivered. Everything that's set up for our convenience is not necessarily set up for our long-term health. So if you can just find ways to walk more during the day, or, other forms of joyful movement, maybe gardening, maybe dancing. In the winter, a lot of my clients were like sledding and playing outside with their kids and like having so much fun, but also getting those steps in. And the other thing I want to say about that is exercise will account for about 5% of your metabolism, whereas that neat activity, that daily joyful movement, steps, what have you, actually accounts for 15 to 20% of your metabolism. So it's actually way more important to just get out and move your body and walk than it is to exercise. Like so many clients come to me saying like, oh, they feel so guilty because they haven't gotten in like one workout. And I'm like, the workout is not going to make or break it. The nutrition and the steps are really going to like push your results. That those formal workouts are just like icing on the top of what really good nutrition and daily movement can do for your body. Okay, I'm going to move on to the last one. Is there any questions, comments, thoughts before I do?
And the one thing I was going to add is that since a year ago, my husband and I have started walking a lot. And sometimes, like today, for example, we did like 2 short walks just because it felt like our days needed to start sooner than we could give like a bunch of time to walking.
Mm-hmm.
So we like did a morning walk for, half an hour, 40 minutes. And then like we're able to get another one in tonight. And that felt easier to fit around our normal schedule.
Yeah, that's a great idea. You don't have to block off an hour and a half to walk 3 miles at once. It might be like 2 small walks, and it can be really nice, like you said, Lindsay, to like begin and end your day. I know this other couple that they're both entrepreneurs. They work together and they work separately, and their rule is at the end of the day, they go for like a 3-mile walk with their dog, and that's their like mental transition from working to like normal life. And it's just, does it feel really good to get in that routine?
Yeah, it's been great for us. I mean, yeah, it's been really, really nice. It's like a really good alone time because we have 2 fairly young kids also. And so they'll like stay at home and like play, or they'll play with their neighbors. And it's just like the 2 of us in the quiet. So yeah, it's been great.
That's awesome. I also have a client who's a single mom who think she has like a 2-year-old, and she just puts the baby monitor on after he goes to sleep. She knows he's like a super sound sleeper, and she does walk outside, but just a little bit, and she'll like come back, check, come back and check. So there's all kinds of ways to just make that happen. Okay, last but not least is, okay, I'm doing everything right. Nutrition's on point. I'm walking, I'm exercising, I'm doing all this stuff. I'm still not seeing results, or I'm not seeing the results that I want. And if that is the case, it could be that your hormones are out of whack, and that's why you're not seeing the results. And there's so many programs that just talk about exercise, or they just talk about diet, like cut calories, cut carbs, calories in versus calories out. And that's not the whole story. Our hormones are super important, and they really affect our metabolism, and they affect our fat loss and weight loss goals. So like I said, next week on Wednesday, I'm going to do a whole entire webinar just about women's health and hormones. So really talking about estrogen and progesterone, how those affect our metabolism, and how it changes from like our cycle to during perimenopause to during postmenopause. But besides that, the two most important things that really affect our hormones are stress and sleep. So stress, like I mentioned before, especially for women, our body has evolved to say, I'm under stress, I'm holding on to this body fat because I don't know what's coming up next. There's so much uncertainty. I don't know if I'm going to have food in the future. I'm going to hold on to this body fat. So if your life is super stressful, and you're not losing weight, that could be a reason why. If your life is super stressful and you decide you want to lose weight, and you do it by like drastically cutting calories and exercising a lot, your body is going to be like, nope, we are not doing that. We are holding on to everything because for some reason we're being starved. We don't know what's going on. And your hormones are going to just kind of shut down that fat loss mechanism until your body feels like it's safe. Sleep is another activity, another thing that really affects your hormones, and specifically hormones affected to fat loss and weight loss. If you're not getting enough sleep, there's two hormones that cue our hunger, ghrelin and leptin. You don't need to remember those names unless you really want to, but you can think of ghrelin as like a grumbly tummy. That tells you when you're hungry. Leptin tells you when you're full. So they get completely out of whack if you're not getting enough sleep, because your body needs energy. And so it's going to give you all these hunger cues that you need something, and it's going to cause all kind of cravings for sugar, for carbs, for the fastest source of energy that you can put in your body. And it's not because you need the calories. It's not even because you're actually hungry. It's because your body is sleep deprived, and it's releasing these hormones that are saying like, get me this energy as fast as I can. If you're sleep deprived, you're also going to not be recovering. Your mental clarity is going to go way down. Your decision-making ability, is just going to affect everything. Like I preach sleep so much to all my clients. It's so important. And of anybody, like my mindset, my whole mantra used to be, I'll sleep when I'll die. I'll sleep when I'll die. I'm living on caffeine and dry shampoo. Like I can do everything. And you really can't, especially as you move into your 30s, you move into your 40s, you move into your 50s. That sleep and is so important. And it all connects. Like sleep is one way to help your body manage stress. And so if you're not getting enough sleep, you're not dealing with the stress, your body's going to hold on to body fat. And it's also just not going to recover from workouts. It's not going to do anything the way that you want it to do.
So for sleep, what is your recommended restful sleep?
Yeah, that's
Just unmuted myself for the same question.
So, how do I unshare this? Okay, so this is my favorite answer because you guys know I'm a former lawyer. It depends, right? Like
Yeah.
everything depends, and it doesn't depend for me, like not on the facts of the case, but it really depends on what your body needs. For my clients, I tell all my clients, I want you getting a minimum of 7 hours of sleep. Some people come to me getting 5, getting 4, and surprised when they're tired, they're dragging, they're living on caffeine, they're reaching for sugary treats. They're exhausted. They don't have energy to cook food. They don't have energy to exercise. And then they get a second wind at 11 o'clock and they stay up having snacks and binge watching Netflix. And then it's kind of this cycle. So the average person needs 7 to 9 hours of sleep. If you have a Fitbit, not Apple Watch, it's like one of the things that Fitbit I think does that's better than Apple Watch. It tracks your sleep and will tell you how much time you're sleeping. And of that time, how much are you actually awake? How much time are you in deep sleep? How much are you in the REM sleep? How much are you in the light sleep? And then it gives you a sleep score. So complicated, depends. But, you know, the one thing way to figure it out is to go to bed earlier. And if you have a time where you don't need to set an alarm clock and just push back your sleep earlier and then see when you wake up, like, how do you feel? Do you feel rested? What does your body need? The other thing is that not all sleep is created equal. So before I think 11 o'clock is when our body, so after 11 o'clock is kind of when our body thinks, okay, you must be working the late shift, and it's going to start surging your body with adrenaline, cortisol, hunger cues. And that's why a lot of times you crave a midnight snack or you feel like you have a second wind. It's not because you don't need sleep. It's just because your body thinks like, oh, there must be some reason we're staying up all night. So if you're staying up to 11, that's kind of like my recommended latest bedtime, because your body's going to sort of be like surged with these hormones that are going to keep you up later. So I'd really encourage you to go to bed as early as possible. The other reason to go to bed as early as possible is the early sleep is when you go into that deep sleep where your body really gets that good recovery that it needs. And it's the time when your body produces human growth hormone, which helps recover muscles, helps like neural pathways for long-term and short-term memory, and helps with fat burning. So long story short, my answer is it depends, right? Minimum of 7 hours of sleep. If possible, bed before 11, but way better to sleep from like 9 to 5 than midnight to 8 a.m. or something like that.
Okay, because the reason I download, I think it's called Sleep Watch, that works with a Apple Watch,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been averaging anywhere between, I think in the last, I think it started a week and a half ago, so anywhere between 6.5 to 8.5 hours
Mm-hmm.
is sleep. But it's saying restful sleep, I'm averaging maybe 4.5 to 5 hours
Yeah.
of restful sleep. So that's why I was kind of, you know,
So
wondering
yeah,
about the
there's a
restful
lot
sleep.
of things that can help you get better sleep. We actually have a whole unit on this in my group program, the Nourish Project,
Okay,
on
good.
sleeping. But I will tell you, you know, having a set bedtime really helps, so your body knows that consistently. Just like, you know, I think everyone, I'm not sure if Sarah has kids, but
I have 4.
okay. So then all of you guys know, like your beloved child, your 4-year-old, your 5-year-old, they have a consistent bedtime. And it's because you love them and you know it's going to set them up for success. So you're not screaming at them the next day, right? And that's what we need to give ourselves, is to give our body that consistent bedtime. So it kind of knows, okay, it's time for me to start winding down. And then also a sleep routine can be really helpful, where you shut off electronics, you know, shut off the blue light, maybe switch to lamps, and have some bedtime tea. I'm a big proponent of like over-the-counter sleep aids. Like if that helps people have more restful sleep, go for it. You know, there's a lot of really nice like CBD gummies or melatonin or like sleepy time tea that can help just like get into that deeper sleep and stay there. having blackout curtains and white noise, and then like a cool temperature room, all that stuff really helps with getting to sleep and staying to sleep.
So for getting like, 7 to 9 hours or, 7+, how much of it should be deep? Like what's healthy for deep sleep?
Or
Or
I'm
if
not
I need
sure.
to wait till the Nourish Project, that's fine too.
Yeah, you might have to wait till actually I
That's
will
fine.
just find out and call you back. But
That's fine.
it's kind of like a third of it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And that's why that early sleep is so important, because if you look at if you have like a sleep tracker, you will fall asleep and it's like boom, deep sleep, and then it's like REM, and then it's like bathroom, and then it's like light, bathroom, kid wakes you up, and it kind of goes like uphill from there. But those first couple hours, the early hours, are when you really get that deep sleep.
So stop falling asleep on the couch is what you're telling me.
Stop falling asleep on the couch. And with sleep, it's kind of like the opposite. You know how with eating, I kind of think of like, okay, I'm going to stop eating before I'm totally full. You got to go to bed before you're totally exhausted, before you're too exhausted to like wash your face and brush your teeth. Like just go to bed because it's your bedtime.
That's
and
not
you have a
fun.
juicy novel. If you have a juicy novel waiting for you in bed, that can make it fun. Okay. Any other questions about that? Sleep, hormones, nutrition, exercise, anything else, anything like specific you guys are working through?
I do have a question on sleep because this is fascinating to me. Is there such a thing as too much? Because I have often lived very, much like you, like I love staying up late at night. The kids go to bed. It's like my time, but I love waking up early, getting a good start, getting stuff done. Like I am 95% caffeinated. Like that's my personality. But as I've gotten older, I've tried to sleep more. And I found that sometimes if I sleep for longer periods, I'm more sluggish the next day. So can there be too much sleep, or is that just hormones that are trying to adjust?
What I've heard is that if you feel like it might just be like you're exhausted and your body's like, oh, I really need to catch up on this sleep. I don't think that there's like too much sleep. Like you'll pretty much just wake up, especially, I kind of know everyone on this call, and you're not people that are like lying in bed all day, like you're like up and getting after it. So if you do feel like, oh, I just can't get out of bed, I feel very sluggish, like, it might be like seasonal depression or, depression, seasonal affective disorder, that kind of stuff. But generally your body's going to tell you like when it's done sleeping.
Okay, no, I mean, it's very specific to when I get like, if I sleep for like 9 hours, then it's like I just am pretty unproductive the rest of the day. So I
Yeah.
always joke that there's like my peak performance is like
Yeah.
6.5 hours, but I am like, that doesn't seem like it's enough for my body, but I don't know.
But I mean, like I said, there's with all this health stuff, there are general principles, but it all comes down to what works for you. And, one thing that, I sort of incorporating now and going to start really pushing with my clients is like, I may be the expert on all this stuff, but you're the authority on your body. And I'm going to tell you, hey, this is kind of like best practices. These are the pros and the cons. But at the end of the day, it matters like, how do you best nourish your body? How does your body like to move? How much does your body like to sleep? And people are so different. Like our chemical makeup on the inside is as unique as we are on the outside. So like, it may be that like, that's totally best for you. I do know if you, with napping, napping too long in the afternoon can make people feel pretty groggy and like out of it. So like shorter naps tend to be better. And so, sleeping for you could just be the same thing.
All right, good to know. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Oh, you guys have been wonderful. Any other questions before I let you all go start your sleep routine? Okay. Okay, cool. So, before we go, and I know there's going to be people watching on the replay, I just want to share about my upcoming signature program is starting about a month actually starting a month from yesterday. It's called the Nourish Project, and it's a 12-week group coaching program. It's for women. Some of you on the call are already in it. I'm excited for that. And some of you are my one-on-one clients. So if that is something you're interested in, we're going to go deep on what food you need to nourish your body, how to calculate your macros. If you don't know what macros are, that's how much protein, carbs, and fat you really need, because not all calories are the same. What kind of exercise you need to be doing, and then holding you accountable to doing that. Lots and lots and lots of mindset stuff, going really deep into women's health and hormones, and stress management. So I'm only taking 12 people for that class, for that program. Some of the spots are already filled, so there's actually just 10 left now. And I want to give everyone on this webinar an extra $100 discount off the early bird price. So I will send information about that when I send the replay. And if it's something you're interested in, just schedule a call with me. We can just chat more about it and see if it's a good fit for you. See, any questions about that? I would be happy to answer them. Shondell, Carrie, you guys are excited for it.
I can't wait. Working with you previously, I don't know, it's been a few months in between here.
Mhm.
And what's been nice is I haven't necessarily gained everything back, but I haven't, like that, again, that consistency piece is what,
Mhm.
so I'm excited to get back on the wagon.
Yeah, that'll be great. Yeah, it'll be great to have you back and have Carrie join us. So the program, it's a group program, but I think it's pretty unique in that it's really a hybrid where we'll have calls like this every week where I'll do a mix of teaching and we'll do one-on-one check-ins. But then there's also really strong one-on-one accountability where every week I'm going to give you personalized feedback as well based on a lot of the biofeedback that we talked about tonight. How's your weight? What are your goals? What's your stress level, your sleep? How much water are you drinking? All that stuff, really getting down and dirty with the goal of towards the end, building up habits that you can just transfer into your life that eventually they're just automatic. It's just like how you live. It's just your lifestyle. And you don't have to spend so much brain space and so much willpower thinking about what should I eat? Should I do this diet? How should I exercise? It's just like part of who you are and how you live. And then that's when it gets to be really fun in like watching everyone transform and hit their goals. And just also one FYI is like everyone who does the program, who works with me, doesn't necessarily have weight loss goals. That is definitely the most common. But a lot of women just want to like get on top of their nutrition and really feel like they're on top of knowing how to nourish their body. Some women don't necessarily want to lose weight, but they want to feel better in their skin and have a body transformation, really build muscle and lose body fat. And I recently had people approach me who say, I actually need to gain weight. Like, can you help me with that? So we can do all those things in the program. It's really customized enough that everyone's going after their own goals. And I'm teaching you how to be the authority on your body by just giving you all the tools that you need and how to use them. Okay. That is really all I have. I want to thank all of you guys for joining me, all you ladies for joining me tonight. If you're watching on the replay, thanks for watching. And like I said, mark your calendar if it's something you're interested in. Next Wednesday, same time, I'll be doing a webinar just on women's health and hormones and metabolism stuff. And it's really juicy stuff. I'm kind of obsessed about it. So if you're interested in it, please plan to join me. All right, ladies, thanks.
Will it be the same link or is it a different link?
It'll be the same length, about an hour. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Maybe a little longer. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
All right. Yeah, it'll be about the same length.
Okay.
All right, you guys have a great night. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Annie.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank